Hola chicos, I hope this video finds you doing super well. Hopefully this quarantine isn't too hard on you, but here we go. This is our section of notes called stem changing verbs. You have E to IE and O to UE as it says on the top. So you've probably actually already seen some of these types of verbs in the activities we did last week. They look a little bit different than what we've been working with. We've been working with a couple irregular verbs, but mostly we've been working with verbs that are completely regular, with the exceptions of the ser and the star, stuff like that. All right, without further ado, here we go. So, what is a stem changing verb? Basically, stem changing verbs deviate from the normal pattern of regular verbs. Basically, we have an additional change. We also refer to these as boot verbs, and you'll see why in a little bit. So, if you look below, note the spelling changes that you see. So, if the infinitive we have empezar and volver. Remember, infinitives end with AR, ER, IR. They are not a conjugated verb. So then you just chop off the ending, empiz. And then you normally would add o, as, a, amos, ais, an for AR verbs. ER verbs a little bit different. But instead we have a stem change. So a vowel in the stem is going to change. Empiez. So then we add our normal endings. Empiezo. This one changed from O to UE, so it went to vuelvo. You'll see what we mean by boot in a second. So in many verbs, such as empezar, the stem vowel changes from, we already saw this, E to IE in that verb. That's what those symbols behind the verbs, you see that in probably wordplay and in your vocab. What those mean is what you're learning right now. So, note that the nosotros and the vosotros forms do not have a stem change. This is important. This is actually why we call it a boot verb. So, loosely, this looks like a boot. Okay. Last year my students said it looked like a a butcher's knife. Whatever you remember this by is great. So, we already know empiezo. So we're going to keep the stem change for all the ones in blue. Tú empiezas. Empieza. Okay, this one, we don't change those E to IE vowels. So it's empezamos. Empezáis. Empiezan. Okay? Not too bad. In other verbs, so what we just saw on the last slide here, we have E to IE, and those are specific. This is something you're just going to have to memorize. Oh, is this an E to IE stem changer or not? In other verbs, such as volver, which means to return, the stem vowel changes from O to UE. And again, you're just going to have to memorize this. Oh, volver, yep, that's O to UE. I'm going to change this. Same thing. The nosotros and the vosotros forms do not have a stem change. So as we saw already in the practice, we have vuelvo. And it's an ER verb, so that stem is going to follow, but our endings are going to be ER endings. Vuelves. Vuelves already in there for you. Nosotros and vosotros. So we're not going to go O to UE. So it's going to be volvemos. Volvéis. And then vuelven's already in there for you. So all the members of the boot get that boot change. If it's not, as in nosotros and vosotros, you don't change that vowel. So, to help you identify stem changing verbs, it's going to follow like this. This is what I was talking about earlier. I think it shows up like this in wordplay for sure in your textbooks. You see this. So, E to IE. O to UE. That is a reminder to you, oh yeah, I need to change that vowel. So here's a lot of E to IE verbs. You just need to remember O to UE. So this one goes almuerzo, almuerzas, almuerza, etc. Cierro, cierras, Sierra, cerramos, because remember we don't change, and so on and so forth. If I were you, I'd conjugate a bunch of these, use that space in the back of your packet maybe, or in a notebook, and conjugate all these so you know how to use them. Alright, jugar, hopefully you already know, means to play a sport or a game. Quick little disclaimer that you cannot use jugar as in to play an instrument. That's a different verb called tocar. Okay? So, and it is the only Spanish verb that has a U to UE stem change. So hopefully that's easy to remember. Jugar is followed by a and a definite article. If you don't remember what a definite article is, it's el, la, los, or las. The word for the in English. Any four of those words in Spanish. And jugar is followed by a and that definite article when the name of a sport or game is mentioned. And I'm going to say that a lot of times in various Spanish-speaking countries, they don't necessarily say this, but it's good for you to know. So, ella juega, notice that stem change, al tenis. So, a and el, remember you mush up together and make it al. Los chicos juegan al fútbol. Same thing. They play, notice that stem change, al fútbol. Okay. Comenzar and empezar require the preposition a when followed by an infinitive, Comienzan a jugar a las 7. So they begin to play. It's just separating those verbs. It's just, don't worry too much about this rule. It's just kind of for your awareness. We're not asking you to be experts at this point, but you'll see it a lot. Ana empieza a escribir una postal. Another thing, pensar plus infinitive means to plan or to do something. Pienso nadar mañana. I'm thinking about swimming tomorrow. I plan to swim tomorrow. Pensar en means to think about someone or something. Pienso en mi esposo. I think about my husband. Here's some more examples. Piensan ir al gimnasio. Are you planning to go to the gym? En qué piensas? What do you think about? Make sense? Again, you'll see this a lot. Hopefully you can try to attempt to use it like this when you're writing. Alright, here are your practice questions. So, on this side, we have cerrar. Remember, it goes E to IE. And I want you guys to write up here, except nosotros and vosotros. We do not stem change for nosotros and vosotros. Do not stem change those two. But otherwise, that E in cerrar needs to go to IE. And the O in dormir should be UE. So we'll do little practices. So, tú cierras. Ustedes cierran. There's two for you. Mi abuela no duerme. Yo no duermo. So you gotta figure out who your subject is. She doesn't sleep, so it's duerme. Yo no duermo, etc. Easy enough. So what I want you guys to do now is pause. Click pause and fill the rest of these in. You'll be able to check your answers in a little bit. Alright, so hopefully you've done these. We'll check your answers later, but we're going to move on to another part. Alright, so we just learned, you've already seen that many verbs in Spanish change their stem vowel when conjugated. So we just learned E to IE, O to UE. And there's actually a third kind we're going to learn now too, such as pedir, which means to ask for or request. So with these ones, with this third stem change, the stress vowel and the stem change from E to I, as shown in the diagram. So not E to IE, but E to I only. Pedir, so we have our normal stem, which is ped, but since we have a stem change, we're going to go pid, and then we're going to add our endings like normal. Pido, pides, pide, pedimos, pedis, piden. So, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. As with other stem changing verbs, I've repeated this 2 times already, but it doesn't hurt. There is no stem change in the nosotros and vosotros form. Just keep remembering that. Write that down. No stem change, nosotros and vosotros. Again, it's a boot to represent that, oh, yep, these will not change. So like I said, we have pido. What's the next one? Tú pides. Pide, it's already in there for you. So if we don't have a stem change here, our normal verb is pedir, the infinitive. So it's pedimos, pedís, and piden. Easy enough? Alright, to help you identify which ones are E to I, they'll appear as follows throughout the text. Pedir, E to I. If there's any other ones, it'll be whatever the verb is, same thing in parentheses. You'll see that throughout your Spanish career. So these are the most common E to I stem changing verbs that you'll come into: conseguir, decir, repetir, and seguir. Okay? If I were you, I would conjugate all of these as well. Consigo, consigues, consigue, conseguimos, etc. So, one quick little thing about decir, it has an irregular yo, but otherwise it's regular with that stem change. So, it's yo digo. You're just going to have to memorize that part too. It's a regular yo like tener had an irregular yo. Tengo. The yo forms of seguir and conseguir have a spelling change in addition to that E to I. Sigo su plan. Consigo novelas en la librería. Okay? It's just dropping that U because it just, consiguo, looks weird. Once you get practicing enough with it, you'll hopefully remember to do that. Don't worry about it too much. Practice, practice, practice. Alright, so here we are practicing E to I. I'll give you a few examples to work with, and then you will be able to do this on your own. Repetir. So it's repiten Arturo y Eva. For the yo form of decir, what are we going to do? It's actually on this slide still. Yo digo. And then yo sigo. I'm going to do number 2 for decir with you verbally. I don't have this on the slide for you. Él dice. So the whole conjugation of this one, remember we have the stem change, so it's digo, dices, dice, decimos, decís, and dicen. Alright, you'll have plenty of practice to do all this. And that concludes your notes. What I want you to do now is finish up the rest of these practice questions, and then on that Google slide for the Werner Weekly, you can check out the answers there. Please, please, please let me know if you have questions. I'm happy to help. Go through with it. And we'll be obviously continuing to practice a lot with these. Hasta luego. Ciao.